it's Deborah with Flipping 50 and Flipping 50 TV, and I am just gonna demonstrate. This is the last day before I jump on an airplane to go do Ironman Cozumel. That's a whole nother story. Tune in live at facebook.com/Flipping 50 TV on some live updates about how that goes, because I am way undertrained. However, I'm here to show you this tool. So foam rolling is something you're all familiar with. This is an awesome little tool. If you notice what I just did, these are elastic. They go right on around this, and then you can haul it around. So it's really kind of a convenient way to haul, similar to a yoga mat. But this is a foam roller, only you can see that it's got a little texture to it. So this is from Rollga, R-O-L-L-G-A. And I am trying it out, and I'm doing this in the last day. This last week, the last several before a big event, you taper, which means you're not exercising as much, and you're trying to do all things recovery. So always between workouts, foam rolling is a great thing to do. This one is a little less comfortable and yet a whole lot more therapeutic for the same reason. The divots, right? The uneven surface actually means you get a little bit more digging into your spine. So I'm going to demonstrate some of the parts where I like to roll on most, not just because of exercise. So swimming, biking, and running aside, this is where I hold my tension, my upper back and my shoulders. And I do that whether I'm exercising or whether I'm at the desk. It's just where I and many of you hold your tension. Women tend to hold it there, men tend to hold it in their lower back. So what I'm allowing myself to do is hold my hips upright so I can roll along and just kind of drive this up to my neck, not necessarily rolling on my neck, right across my shoulder blades and then back down. Now, because this is pushing, putting different pressure points here, as I roll back and forth just like this, I'm going to also let myself move it to the side, kind of roll on an angle, so that I get hit in different positions. And with the Rollga, you have a little bit more ability to maneuver and manipulate where you want the pressure and where maybe you want to avoid it. So nice and easy. And I can tell you this is like a love-hate relationship right now. Another thing that I love to do with the foam roller is kind of find a spot and then go crossways back and forth, just to wiggle. And it's even easier to do here on the Rollga because it's already got those places where it's pushing deeper into you. So it's kind of like a masseuse taking their thumbs and just knowing intuitively where you need that stretch and where you don't. But then what I'll do is right here where I really feel in the upper shoulders and back I need it, I'm going to drop my hips down. I'm drop my arms down, and I'm just going to stay right here and breathe. So instead of breathing here, shallow, right, I'm going to take some time and take deep breaths and exhale and really try to let myself sink into the foam roller, or in this case, the Rollga roller. And then I'm going to carefully support my head so that I don't pick it up with my neck. I'm just going to roll about an inch, and then I'm going to do it up a little higher and let myself open again until I settle in and I can take a full deep breath. And exhale. And you get the idea. I'm going to pick the head up. I'm going to roll down one more inch and then open back again. And release. I'm going to let my arms go out to the side. Deep breath in. So if you're still feeling like you're holding your breath and you're tense, you need to stay there and long enough so that those breaths really allow you to get into the stretch. And then supporting my head. I'm going to take it a little bit further, but to do that, I'm going to roll this way. I'm going to roll down to the point where it's kind of on my upper back, or lower back, I'm sorry. My upper back is on the ground. My hips are up. Now, depending on how you feel, you may feel okay going out with one leg. And if that's okay, you may go out with a second leg. If you feel there's too much pull in the lower back, you're probably just a little too high. And wait till you do that with 1 more inch of rolling. A couple ways you can do that. So now you've got your feet grounded. If you're in a bridge, you can just roll that from underneath you. Put it right there in across the pelvis, a little bit lower. Now it's a little bit more comfortable for me to let my hips go. Open up my hip flexors without pushing pressure here on the lower back. And probably 1 more inch further that way with the Rollga will feel even better. And again, I'm getting a little bit more pressure point, trigger point work here in certain areas where others don't have any. So that's kind of a nice relief, and I'm really liking it. So now a little bit lower, this feels even better to my lower back, and each piece of that gives you a little bit more traction somewhere along your spine. So take the time to actually sit and do nothing. And I know who you are if you find that really hard to do. You gotta be moving, right? Try not to. Try to take a few breaths, make that your work right here. You can roll that down just a little bit further and then even more comfortable, right? So just easy. None of it should hurt. So we've gotten used to that whole idea of I should work through it, breathe through it if it's bothering me. That doesn't mean it's a good thing. If it's bothering you, move off of that. You should feel some bit of good happening if you're on your way to getting better with an exercise. It shouldn't necessarily have to hurt in order for it to get better later. Harder or challenging, maybe, but there shouldn't be any pain associated with it. Bend your knees, and that way you can lift your hips up, move it out, and just kind of let your hip wiggle out. If that was a significant stretch and you've given yourself some traction you're not used to, you gotta roll that out. So quadriceps, all right, so I'm talking from a biker girl, right? So I wasn't on my bike today, but I was yesterday. So this is probably gonna feel like something I need, but not necessarily something I wanna do. Hold on right here. So I was just talking about pain, wasn't I? And this is not pain, but this is definitely one of those, okay, I know I need it. Here's where you go. You go to the knee joint. You don't want to roll across the knee joint. And then again, you're gonna kind of put your legs out a little wider. So now I'm getting this ridge here on the outside, which is right where you've got that tensor fascia lata, and we've got the IT band that gets a little touchy, or I can move them in closer and be rolling the medial or inside part of my quad, which is much more comfortable, right? So that IT band gets a little touchy, likes to talk back. So as I roll back and forth here, I kind of come all the way up to the pubic bone, cross those hip flexors, and then roll all the way down the length of the quadriceps to my knees. And then as I do that, then I'll rotate toes in. So I'm focusing now a little bit more on a different part of the thigh. So that's a broad, wide muscle. Rolling in, you're getting a little core work here, so you have to make sure you stay engaged. Good, and the more you turn those toes in, the more you're focused toward that IT band. And I'm gonna do that one more time because that's a little tight for me, and then I'm gonna turn out. So my heels are together. This is like first position in ballet. A little bit more comfortable, and then release. And then always to the side. Okay, so this is that IT band, right? Yes, here we go. So I have a little support on this foot. I have a little support on this arm. This one has weight on it, but it's really just steering. So as I roll down, if I'm getting uncomfortable, I've got more weight on this foot and more weight on this hand. Right now I have quite a bit because this is a little touchy today, and that's understandable. So cross the hip, kind of all the way to the top of your hip, and then you try, that's a wide muscle as well. You want to get to the top or the front part of the quadricep. That's where it gets a little ouchy. But those ridges here in the Rollga are going to really get to it. So it's a little bit more helpful than just rolling on a flat foam roller. When I say helpful, I didn't say comfortable. Don't confuse the two, all right? But looking at it from this direction, you can see the ridges here are nice and textured, and so is your muscle. So it's just like somebody's hands going into you and finding that spot where you need it the most. Roll across that upper hip. And it's always nice to roll side to side, doing the right, then doing the left, or vice versa, and noticing which one is more sensitive. Important to roll and not let yourself be favoring one. So if one is a little bit more sore than the other, probably the tendency for you to exercise is to favor that side. If it's tight, you're using it a little bit more, and you need to figure out why that is. Good, and there you have it. Those are the uses for me for foam rolling. Tops of the thighs, the outer thighs, my IT band, my upper back, and my neck. And then the very last one, which sometimes can be the first, especially maybe if you've just ridden the desk all day, right, is this piriformis stretch, getting right to the glute. So if I cross this leg over, I'm actually leaning into that cheek because it's kind of like I've exposed that piriformis, and I'm going to roll back and forth here on it. And those ridges are pretty effective. Just let me tell you, okay? Come on over, I'll let you borrow it. So rolling through it, your speed is about 1 inch per second. So we're not going fast, and you may want to. You hit certain spots. When you find what I call hot spots, where you've got potentially a little knot that a masseuse would find, you actually sit on that. You can roll it in the same direction or crosswise, kind of rolling it like you're coming to an intersection on it and creating a cross. And that'll help break some of that up. Just move down 1 inch or 2, and that'll help as well. Other side looks just the same. Cross it over, then lean into that hip, roll all the way down, back and forth, get along the outside of it, roll up just a little bit closer, across the middle of that muscle, and then a little bit closer to the middle or center of your back, and that back to the spine. You can sit kind of upright, take the tailbone behind it and the tailbone under it. And there's a very small percent of people whose tailbone actually is built differently, and this would not be comfortable. My guess is you already know who you are. But for the majority of us, just kind of rolling so that the tailbone is forward and then the tailbone is back and behind, and you're rolling through the glutes again. So we tend to get sore really here outside in the piriformis, and that's because it's overused and then it's underused chronically. We sit a lot, and then we go and do our weekend warrior stuff, and then we sit a lot. And even within a day, you can do that. You go to the gym, you do the Stairmaster, you do the step, and then you sit, right? So the ideal is break up those periods of sitting during the day so you don't need this so much, but use it anyway. For regular use, it's great. Thanks, yoga, for sending it.